Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to set up our last city street drawing today. I'm going to kind of give you the basics. When you come in tomorrow, you're going to get to do the details on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our horizon line around. We're even going to move our vanishing point around. So yes, it's a city street, but it will have a totally different look than what our first one had. So normally we've been going up about halfway or even up past halfway. I told you it just depends on where our horizon line is on the page, on how much distance we have. So today we're going pretty low. We're going to go less ground and more sky, so more distance. So things are going to get smaller quicker. So normally we've been going up 4.5. Today we're only going to go up 2 inches from the bottom. Measure up 2, and we're going to create our horizon line at 2. So pretty low horizon line today. Going to have a little bit different look. This is what they're going to call a worm's eye view, because it's going to kind of, when this is set up, it's going to kind of feel like you're laying on the ground, kind of looking up at an angle. Sorry, moving my paper around a little bit. All right, we went up 2. Now instead of 6, we're going to move over 3 inches, and right here at number 9, I'll put my vanishing point. So now instead of looking straight down the street, we're going to kind of look that way. All right. Like I said, this is a video. You can pause and rewind, so I'm just going to go with this, and as you guys need to pause it, pause it. Okay? So if you guys remember, when I set this up, our first city street, we had to put some dots along the bottom of our paper to create our street and our sidewalk. We're going to do the same thing today. Okay? So I'm going to lay my ruler right along the bottom. I'm going to have a cluster of 3 over here and a cluster of 3 over here. So my first 2 are at 4 and 5. 4 and 5. Then 5 and a 4th. So if you don't know where that's at, start at 5, count 4 notches to the right on your ruler. 4, 5, 5 and a 4th. Our right side is going to be number 12, our bottom right corner of the paper. Number 11. Then I'm going to go 10 and 3/4. So I'm going to start at 11, I'm going to count 4 notches left and make my dot right there. Okay, so 12, 11, 10 and 3/4. Okay, you guys know once we have the dots, we're going to send them to our vanishing point. So we're going to set up our sidewalk and street. This guy all set up here. Okay, so as you notice, actually the left side is going to be a little longer than our right side today, so a little bit different view. Okay, so we've been using wall lines and sidewalk lines. Sidewalk lines to do our buildings, wall lines for furniture for an indoor drawing. So we're going to come over here to measure. Okay, so I'm just going to scoot this guy up so you guys can see it a little better. And I'm just going to lay my ruler down like I'm measuring this line. So 0 on my ruler should be bottom right corner. I should be hitting my vanishing point somewhere around 3.5. So that way you know your ruler's laid the same way as mine. At number 2, we'll make a dot. So that's where my building is going to start. So at number 2, you can see right there, right under the number 2. I'm going to draw a line that goes up 4.5 inches. So that's from my dot. Okay, so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll measure first. Make that a little taller than 4.5, but oh well. Now I'm going to use my trusty triangle to make sure I have a nice straight up and down line. 4.5. Once I get that line, I'm going to send them right off of the paper, so we don't even have to measure how wide our building is. We're just going to draw it till it goes. Okay, so 4.5 tall, and we went off to the right. I'm going to erase these measurements as we go, so there's not a bunch of numbers. So now that means we've got a front. Now we got to make a side. So I'm going to take my top left corner here. I'm going to line it up with my vanishing point. I'm going to draw a line pretty close to 2 inches. You know, if for some reason 2 bothers you, I prefer to see less than 2 than more. If you go more than 2, you may have trouble fitting this other building in behind it. So I got is 2 inches. So once I hit that line, I know then I got to take it straight down to my sidewalk, because the sidewalk is the bottom of our building. Front and side. Front and side. So what do I got going through my building? Horizon line. I'll have to get out of here. Okay, we're going to get one more building, so I have 2 buildings on the left. We'll cross the street, get about 3 over here, and we'll call it a day for this one. Okay, so I'm a corner that I just lined up with my vanishing point. I'm going to measure that way, about 1/2 inch. and make a line there, because that's where my guy's going to start. So I'm going to start that corner. I'm going to measure in a 1/2 inch. So I know my building is going to start here. Now I'm going to go up 1.5. Okay, so like I said, if you want to measure it first, come back, grab your triangle. Okay, so I went from here, went over 1/2 to where I start, and then I went up 1.5. So I'm going to go ahead and erase those measurements. So if you need them, pause it. We're going to work pretty quick on this. I've had trouble with my large videos uploading to YouTube and whatnot. So we're going to run through this pretty quick. Just pause as you need to. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to have to go this way. But we want to make sure that we pass the end of our building here. So this has to go past here. Okay, does that make sense? We want our shape to come out. All right. For me, 1.5 will do that. If 1.5 takes you all the way to the vanishing point, then just back it up. Like I told you many times, in art, sometimes you just got to make it work. And the best artists aren't always the best drawers and painters. They just hide their mistakes better than other people. So it's going to happen. 1.5. And from there, we got got 2 more lines to make our rectangle. We're going to go straight down, and then as soon as I hit the sidewalk, I'll take a hard right into my building. That way we have a bottom. If you don't put that bottom line on your building, it's going to feel like your building just melts into the sidewalk. And we're not doing science fiction today. Okay, so don't forget this line right here. It's very important. Once again, I've got front. Now we got to get sides. So that means this corner right here. Now you guys are noticing as you get closer to the vanishing point, the sides of the lines are going to get steeper and steeper. You're going to go from there and it's going to be almost straight up and down. So let's see what we got here. Ooh, I'm just moving everything around today, aren't we? Okay. Line up that vanishing point. I'm going to go about anywhere between 1.5 and 2. Whatever floats your boat, do it. It's going to be so skinny anyway, so slim that we're not going to be able to get a whole lot of details on the side of that building anyway. Then we got front and side. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my horizon line that's going through my building. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase my measurements. If you need those, make sure you pause it. And now we're going to cross the street and start over here. So if we measured up the far right line to find our right buildings, we're going to measure up the far left line to find our left buildings. Laying down right there. I'm going to say at a pretty close to 1.5. That's where my next building is going to start. Okay, 1.5. Okay. Now I'm going to go straight up 4. Okay, so like I said, if you want to measure, and use your triangle, I think that's a great idea. We're going to go that way 3, top and bottom, trying to make that rectangle shape. So I went 3. Can't go right because that would take us out in the middle of our street, and it's going to feel like our building is crossing the street, so we don't want that. There you go. And once you get those lines in, just close up your shape. Now we've got a rectangle. So I went up 4, over 3. Let's get rid of those now. Bell rings. School's out. Okay, so if on the right side we're using top left, left side we're going to use top right. Okay, we'll send that guy over about 1.5. He's going to my vanishing point. 1.5. Wherever that line stops, we got to set our sidewalk. So now we have front and side. So like I said, just pause as you need to go. So to get our other buildings, we were using our corners. What do I got here? Uh-oh, got some horizon line. Let's get this guy out of here. Okay. Let's use our corner. Let's measure in a 1/2 inch. No, I'm sorry, let's go 1 inch. Feeling a little sassy today. Let's go 1. So I'm gonna measure over 1 inch, and that's where I'm gonna start my next building. Okay? So I went over 1. I'm gonna go up 2. Okay? So like I said, I'm gonna measure with my ruler. I'm gonna draw. Okay, so from here, we go 3. So we're just kind of getting our basics set up. And wherever that one stops, you know you're gonna send one down to your sidewalk. And don't forget your bottom line. So when you hit that sidewalk, take a hard left. Okay? It's going to give us this corner right here. I'm going to line that up with my vanishing point. I'm going to go 2. So notice I'm working quicker. Like I said, just pause as you need to go. I got to keep these videos somewhat short so they upload a lot better. Okay? Let's get our last building in, and we'll call it a day. Okay. All right, so we know I'm coming from this corner. I'm going to measure that way. Here's one we haven't used a whole lot. I know we used them down here, but 1/4. So anywhere you lay your ruler down, just count 4 notches. So if you want to start at 1, go left 4 notches. If you want to start at half, go left 4 notches. 4 notches on that ruler that you are using is 1/4 of an inch. Go straight up 1 inch. I don't have to go far because it's already coming out of the top of the tallest building. 1 inch. From 8 to 9 there. 1 inch. Straight up. Once again, we want it to go past this line. Okay? So some of you guys, just depends on if you kept with me or not. If your measurements got a little bit off, you know, you may have a little trouble. I'm going to go pretty close to 1.5. If 1.5 takes you way too far over here, just back it up. Go 1/4. Go a little bit past 1. You know, like we said in art, sometimes we call that making it work. So whatever you got to do to make it work. So I went 1.5. I'll put a question mark there just because, you know, you guys may have to do a little bit different measurement. Where that line stops, send it down to your sidewalk. Take a hard left at your sidewalk. Draw it in. Leave this one more side left. So line that guy up with my vanishing point. I'm going to go pretty close to 2. If 2 takes you way over here past the vanishing point, then just back it up. Go 1.5, 1/4. Okay, really doesn't really matter. Whatever works. Okay. I'm going to get rid of whatever lines we got going through our building. So that should be pretty close to where you're at right now. Okay, I know I worked fast, but like I said, you can pause, you can rewind, go back and watch it again if you need to. All right, so just make sure you've got 2 buildings on the right, 3 on the left, and your horizon line pretty much gone out of your buildings. Okay, tomorrow we'll talk details. We'll talk windows, doors, signs, awnings, sidewalks, trash cans, flower pots, whatever. Okay, good luck.